Hey, what's up, guys? So back for another video of the importance of in-season training. All right, so the biggest mistake hockey players or any other athletes in this instance are making is that when the in-season starts, they stop training. So everything that they've gained eventually disappears and might even regress, right? So in the off season, you're taking 2 steps forward, right? You've eat well, you slept well, you worked out well, you did some skills, you did everything you had to do to get better, and you got better. And then the in season hits, and then you stop everything and just play your sport. Well, you're actually taking 3 steps back. So come next off season, you're actually starting either at the same place, or actually you're probably starting even lower than when you started the year before. All right, I'm not talking about the end of the summer. So basically, I have a thing with my athletes that I call narrow the gap. All right, it doesn't matter what level you're playing. All right, unless it's the NHL, there's always going to be a level ahead of you, and there's always going to be a level beneath you. All right, so these guys are trying to take your job, and you're trying to take someone else's job that's higher up. All right, so that's the basis of narrowing the gap. Now you have to think, if you're content with being here in the middle, all right, well, guess what? Next training camp, someone who's narrowing the gap, all right, who's focusing on his sleep, nutrition, workout, in season, doing extra skill work, some video session, trying to get better, putting everything they have into becoming a better hockey player. Well, come next training camp, all right, this person here is probably going to take your spot. And again, I see it way, way too often. All right. This guy here, he thinks he's the best at his level. Well, guess what? There's a whole other level right there, and you are probably the worst player at that next level. And if you think that you're very good and you'll be very good here, well, guess what? Unless, again, you're in the NHL, there's always another level, another level, another level. All right. So get off your high horse, all right, and notice all the work that needs to be put in consistently, year in, year out, for you to even have a chance to sniff the next level. All right. So again, it's all about narrowing the gaps. All right. It's all about looking at a professional athlete, someone who's getting paid to play hockey, and what do they do in their life in a day. All right. What do they do once in season train? Well, it's pretty obvious. All right. Every junior program, every college university program, and every pro program, all right, it's mandatory that they train in season at least twice a week, if not more. Now, depending on where you're in the lineup, how many minutes you play, and all that, this in season becomes even more important. All right. If you're a second, third, fourth liner, you don't get as many minutes, you're not on the power play, you're not on the PK. Okay. In season training becomes crucial, not only if you want to stick at this level, all right, but to prevent you from going down to the next level. And you never know. There's always opportunities that come at the weirdest time. It might be in the playoffs, but if you don't do the work required, all right, in season, maybe in the playoffs, someone gets injured, and then it's your chance to go and grasp that opportunity, make it count. Well, if you haven't trained all season, guess what? You're not ready for that opportunity, and you're exactly what the coach thought you were, just a waste. All right. So narrowing the gap. You're here. You want to get there. What is this level? What is this player ahead of you doing? All right. How do you get better than that guy? Well, you have to at least do everything he's doing to just be able to maintain that gap. But if you decide to focus more on your nutrition, maybe you're on the third line and you decide to do 3 or 4 workouts. Maybe you're healthy scratch. That day you go in for a workout. Well, now all of a sudden, in the weight room, you're doing more than this guy. And what does the weight room help you do? It helps you build strength, power, speed, explosiveness, durability. All right. All incredibly important qualities for you to just exactly like I said, narrow that gap. All right. So say you're playing U16 AAA or you're playing junior, you're trying to go to the next level. All right. Look at the best player ahead of you, or look at the best player in the world in the NHL, and what do they do in a day? All right. There's YouTube videos. You guys can go ahead and a day in the life of Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, whoever. and you're going to get some results. You're going to get some footage of what they do. And then you start mimicking that stuff. You start some video analyzing their position. How can you get better? Ask your coach to do sessions with you. If you're a shit skater, well, you definitely need to work on your skating. Get some extra skill work. If you're not a good stick handler, you need some extra skill work. All right? So again, your sleep, your nutrition, and your workouts in season are incredibly important. And those three things, all right, if they're bang on, you're doing it consistently and as perfectly as you can, I recommend if you're over 15 years old that you start taking some supplements to gain an edge, gain an advantage on that person that's in front of you that might not be doing it. And eventually, I'm not saying in a season, but over 2, 3, 4 years, all right, you are going to be able not only to close that gap, but you are going to dominate this level, and then the next gap will appear. But if you do nothing to close the first gap, the second gap is never going to appear, all right? And just to finish off, all right, the hockey season, all right, people think it's a wear and tear, and that's why when they get to playoffs, that they're tired, but it's not wear and tear. It's not that you're tired. It's that you haven't put in the work in the gym, and so you've lost some strength, you've lost some power, you've lost some speed. Your mobility isn't where it should be, all right? Your lean muscle mass has gone down, so it's harder to recover, all right? So all of these, all right, actually not wear and tear. It's you that just became weak over the season. And as I said in the last video, off season, in season, off season, in season, off season, in season, right? There's no point for you to go off season hard, do nothing, and then by the time you get to the next off season, you start right back up. But if you're consistent 2 to 3 days a week, 45 minutes, you're in, you're out. All right? Instead of landing back right here at the end of year 3, right? You're going to be here. You're going to go a little progress, not a lot in season, but it's still very doable. All right? And then you're going to go up again. All right? And then either you finish here in 2 to 3 years or you finish here. If you finish here, all right, you've definitely got 1, 2, maybe 3 more gaps, and that's when you give yourself a chance, an opportunity, all right, to make a living out of this awesome game.